I stole this idea from Karsten Runquist. Go watch him! Alright, what did I watch in January? Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Oh wow. I did not expect to love this movie. I always liked breakup movies better than hookup movies because I'm lonely and sad and I can relate to them more. I feel like there are fewer of them, and the ones that I've seen have always been really serious. This is the only movie I can think of that shows how sad and funny a breakup can be. For every serious scene of Peter being sad about the memory he has of Sarah, there are like 7 funny scenes of him dealing with a new boyfriend or having a shitty breakup sex. They all work so well together, I never feel like there's any whiplash. The resort setting lets everybody just keep bumping into each other, and it naturally squeezes out all the crossovers and interactions you'd want to see from a beautiful messy break. The cameos are all solid. Paul Rudd never fails to get a laugh. I love that guy. Something, something, something. Comedy is subjective. But I think it being more grounded helps it gel with the emotions going on. Also, super important for any breakup movie. You gotta see all the stuff that made it work to begin with and all the stuff that didn't work, so you can really feel what the characters are going through. Sarah's rant about Peter giving up always gets me, man. If I had to complain, there are some shitty green screen shots, and some of the ending conflicts feel a little forced compared to the rest of it. But other than that, I love this movie. I give it an A. Leo. Leo's a movie where Adam Sandler's an iguana. I like how this movie isn't afraid to be weird. Kind of feels like they're going for a Disney vibe. But I feel like most Disney movies play it pretty safe with the humor, and they go for more heart and whimsy. Whereas in this one, you see a bunch of kindergartners chewing on desks or a teacher stealing her kids' Cheetos. I like that it's just a little bit more off. Instead of the normal family fare, this movie feels a lot more Adam Sandler-y, but less Jack and Jill Adam Sandler and more Billy Madison. There's less poop and fart jokes and a lot more of the weird, absurdist stuff that I'm into. I also like that you can't really tell what's going to happen next. It makes it a lot more interesting to get through. The songs are cute, but they're not bangers like Disney. I think the character models for the humans all felt a little off. They're all too a little Grubhubby for me. Thankfully, we were usually staring at animals and not humans, so it's fine. Honestly, I'm just surprised how funny this movie was. I was laughing my ass off most of the time. This is so much better than anything Disney put out last year. Overall, B+. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World! Movie good, but book better. I'll review it all later. Okay, fine. This movie's great. The directing is fantastic. The action scenes are fantastic. My main problem is that compared to the book, it just doesn't really have enough time to breathe and do all the character beats I wanted to do. That being said, I like some of the stuff it changed. They give Scott a little bit more agency in some of the fights. Some of the fights are just more fleshed out to begin with. But again, I'll get more into it in that other review. The Boys in the Boat. I already did a review of this for IMDb, so I'm just going to read that one straight off. 5 out of 10. A vanilla cake of a movie. This movie is like a gourmet vanilla cake. The acting, directing, and score are all top-notch ingredients that come together to make something tried and true. Unfortunately, I have had vanilla cake 1,000 times, and I was hoping the director, the chef, would make something a lot less by the numbers. They could have gone crazy with the color grading and the water while they rowed, or brought in more musical motifs for the piano rower. Make some stuff up that adds to the movie that doesn't ruin the history of it. If I was a huge sports fan or a history nut, I could see myself getting into this. But as is, it needs a little bit more flavor to stand out amongst the crowd. Couldn't have said it better myself. C-. Godzilla -1. I already made a full review of this one, but it's pretty good. Probably top 5 Godzilla movies for me, but I think I still like Shin Godzilla a little better. A-. More Godzilla! -1 got me in a Godzilla mood, so I watched 3 more, all from the same series. And they're all about the same. For those uninitiated, there are 2 types of Godzilla movies. The first type, the serious ones, that are just him being an allegory for nuclear war or politics. And the second type, the silly ones where Godzilla fights other monsters. The ones I watched were in the Heisei era, which ran from 84 to 95. They lean a lot more serious than the WrestleMania cheese of the Showa era, but I'm still not nearly as brooding as the original. I feel like Godzilla's like Friday the 13th, where they pump out 7 movies back to back, year after year, and the only difference is who he's fighting or how he's killing people in that movie. To be fair to Godzilla, most of the plots take 2 sentences to describe as opposed to Jason's 1. So, in Godzilla vs. Destroya, the king of the monsters has to fight Destroya, while dealing with the fact that his radioactive heart is breaking down. If he breaks down all the way, it'll explode like a poorly kept power plant and take the world with him. In Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla, he has to fight a giant monster who kidnapped his son. What a dick! Said monster just so happens to be the result of Godzilla's cells being sent to space and mutating. See the earlier movies for that one. Also, there's a telepath subplot. Finally, there's Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2. and he fights a robot in his own image made by the government-sanctioned G-Force. Rodan and Baby Godzilla also show up. I'm realizing I'm gonna watch these backwards too. Stuff I liked. The suits and miniatures in these movies are always top-notch. They're a far cry from the simple charm of the older movies, and these costumes, the moving eyes and the facial features really sell it. The designs of the monsters themselves are also top-notch too. Destroyer is insane. James Rolfe is right, he looks like the fucking devil. Rodan, Goji, and Baby Goji all have solid updates on the classic designs, and Junior even gets to grow up. Mecha Goji has a bit of a butterface compared to the older ones, but the weapons are great, and Space Godzilla has a super cool sci-fi design that kind of reminds me of an old video game boss. But Burning Godzilla, man, with that orange glow and the perpetual smoke coming out of him, easily the standout design of these three. The fights are alright. A lot of them boil down to lasers and energy blasts, which I can feel are a little static, but when they do get up close and personal, it's fucking great. Shout out to Rodan for just pecking, I love it. Also, it's not super fleshed out, but I have so much raw emotion for the relationship between Godzilla and Junior. Which, like, come on, you gotta. They actually show Godzilla caring about something other than himself by just his face and his roars. And he just gets me, man. I wish there was more of it. Stuff I don't like would be people talking. Yeah, I watched the dub because it was easier to find, and it's not great. Not consistently funny either. I feel like a cheesy dub would fit right in with the older cheesy movies. But this is kind of a middle ground, I don't know. You probably heard it before, but Godzilla movies are just people talking in military rooms and monsters fighting. Well, that's not always the case, and it's not always even a bad thing. This gets pretty close to that stereotype. If you were to give these people actual character arcs, if you were to give them stuff to do other than sit and stare at monsters, I can get invested, but you have to try. Having them fight the monsters, or giving them grudges because Goji killed their friend, it's a good start. But come on, you can do better than that. I know you can do more. Also, the pacing sucks in all of these. There's little to no momentum. They spend 6 years chasing him on a beach, only for it to add up to nothing. Why? I think Godzilla vs. Destroyer has to be the best overall vibe because of its impending doom and monster bits of Baby Destroyer. It just feels like a horror movie. Also has the best ending too, that shit is so sad. Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2 has my favorite fights thanks to Rodan and a lot of the QCQ. And Space Godzilla has the best Baby Godzilla design. For kaiju fans, these are all pretty solid. Even great, but for a casual viewer or someone who wants a little more engagement or themes from their Godzilla movies, these are just passable. Godzilla vs. Destroyer is my favorite. Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla is under that, and then Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla is under that. And that's everything I watched this month. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell me if you think that I suck at this. My opinions are wrong. Tell me if I should watch more movies. Bye.